Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
We'd like to say goodbye to Renita Young for joining us. Renita, good morning. Thank you so much, and goodbye for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today. And let me bring in Congresswoman Robin Kelly into the conversation. Good morning, Congresswoman. How are you? Okay, while we are waiting for her to unmute herself.
There she is. Good morning. Good morning, Congresswoman. How are you?
Good.
Good. You look chipper.
Hey, I'm awake.
Look, we know you're headed into a legislative week, and we really appreciate you taking the time. So we're going to sort of get right to it because I'm curious about the genesis of the articles. And so backdrop for all of our listeners that need a little bit of catch up. So obviously, Secretary Kristi Noem of DHS has been problematic, to be very generous, right? We've seen her do everything from mismanage her office on the administrative side to not training her agents well enough. Some of them are only getting 6 weeks of training. And now, and I'm just going to be blunt here, the Congresswoman probably can't be as blunt, but that's the virtue of having a radio show, is that I can be blunt, and now we see agents murdering people. You know, we are. It's straight up in the streets. People are being executed. Everybody from Keith Porter to Silverio Gonzalez, Alex Preddy, Renee Good, and they have descended upon Minneapolis as if it was a war zone. So that's the backdrop. The good news is we have great Congresspeople, and Robin had a team around her of other congressional colleagues that agreed, and it goes back 4 months. So I kind of want to start there. When you started, was there a tipping point, Robin, where you said, "Oh my gosh, I am impeaching this woman"? What was kind of the
As you said, we started actually in October because of Operation Midway Blitz, and it was my district that the helicopter landed, and they kicked in all the doors on the first floor. I'd gone to the apartment building a couple of times. Kids' clothes, toys strewn all over. People drug out, whether you were immigrants, undocumented, or American citizens. Everybody was pulled out, tied up. So that's when, it started. And then when they snatched a mom off the street that had been here, I think 20 years, and she had a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old with the mental capacity of an 11-year-old. She didn't know what happened to her mom, so her daughter, the oldest one, had to leave school. So it's just been one thing after another. The car accident where 2 people were hit and had to go to the hospital. Reverend Black, right by my district, shot in the head. He was praying for the ICE agents. He said when he went to Broadview, something came over him, and and then they shoot him with those pepper balls or whatever that it says specifically, do not hit people in the head. It could be deadly. And they hit him 7 times, twice in the head. So it's just one thing after another, one thing after another. And, but we wanted to make sure all of our I's were dotted and T's were crossed, and, didn't want to be performative or anything like that. But Minnesota was just, we couldn't wait. That was just, oh my God. And yes, murder, in my opinion, is the right word that you use. And I am the Congresswoman, so I mean, it's on TV, our eyes, saw, what happened. Her last words, I believe, were, "I'm not mad at you." And they put other people in danger. She could have hit another police officer, a pedestrian, anyone in the neighborhood. The way they shot her and Alex, there are just no words, quite frankly. So we filed, honestly, didn't know how many people would join. I'm proud to say today we have 181 co-sponsors. I'm proud to say, with leadership that they said either she's gone or we're going to move forward. So we'll see how these next 2 weeks of negotiations go. I myself, I don't want to shut down. I don't want, everyday folks not to get paid, but I'm not going to vote. I didn't vote, for the bill when it came to the House. I'm glad in the House we could separate it out. So I mean, childcare, all that, SNAP, even though he's jacking up Snap too. But that's all important. And like I said, I don't want people that already can't afford things to be hurt. But I could not vote for DHS, and I depending on how it comes back or what's negotiated, I still may not vote for it because she needs to go. She's an incompetent leader. I know he's surrounded by incompetent leaders, but people are
Yep.
losing their lives and getting maimed because of her reign of terror. And the word I use, you said I think you said like war. Yeah, they're invading. They're invading places. We heard a lot about Minnesota, but Maine, the same thing. They were there kind of at the same time, and we heard stories that they were following people. People were following them so they could warn other people that they're coming. And I heard a story where one of the people following them, when she went home, they were in her driveway. And another person, they called her on the phone, threatening. So no one is safe. No
Yeah.
one is safe, obviously, because all kind of people have died and been maimed, and we don't know where they're going next. So I know I did a lot of
Robin,
talking
No,
real
no, no.
quick,
That's
but
I want to get to some of the super sexy stuff called procedure, right?
yeah.
Because it is important. I want people to understand how hard it is to bring impeachment articles forth. It's very hard, and then to take leadership on it, and also to equally not have it be performative. Because many of my former colleagues, your current colleagues, would say, "Well, that's not going to go anywhere." Well, it doesn't matter. Just like Ro Khanna thought it may not go anywhere, but he had to do it on Epstein, you are taking the same leap of leadership, I would call that, and say that, look, I started out with 7 people and now I'm at 182, right? So tell us a little bit about when you see yourself as a leader in Congress, which you are, taking that moment to move forward and build that coalition. Just tell us a little bit about that, Robin.
Honestly, I could not take it anymore. Like I said, we have been working on it and working on it, just like, gun violence and leading the sit-in. I think that was before you came. It was just enough is enough is enough, And so my staff, the main person that worked on it, he had been in contact with, we didn't slide this over anybody. We had been in contact with the appropriate leadership leadership, and also judiciary. We've been working with people because we wanted to make sure that we did everything right too. And then we, brought it up in a group of people, and like you've been there, like anything, some people are like, I don't know about that. And my attitude was, if you don't want to sign, don't sign. And I was shocked pretty quickly out the box. We had like 60 and then more. And as things kept happening, then more people signed on, more people signed on. Even um, people, I don't know how many that voted for that bill. There were 7 Democrats. Some of them have now signed it
Yes, they
because
should. Yeah.
they realize, the depth of this. I mean, we're attacking our own people. Like our tax dollars are paying for us to be attacked. I mean, it makes no sense. So we know things don't happen overnight. We know we have to build the sponsorships, which we are doing, and then it would go to judiciary. And we've been in touch with Jamie Raskin. He's a constitutionalist. He's been on impeachment teams before when it came to Donald Trump. But the other thing is, I wanted her to know that we are watching. You're not just going to do your thing, but more importantly than Congress, people are watching. People
That's right.
are holding you accountable. People are holding this administration accountable. And hopefully people remember this. I'll say on March 17th and in November, that we cannot have this type of leadership. So that was all the impetus. But yeah, we know that there's a process, and actually I'm shocked at the amount. They haven't used the word impeachment that I know of. Some Dem senators have, but even Republican senators more have said she's got to go.
Yeah. And
So
do you
you never
have any?
know.
Yeah, do you have any Republican sponsors right now, Robin?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Someone was speaking to some of them, so I'll find out, when I come back, because someone whispered in my ear that some of them are troubled, and some of the trouble comes from beside, one of the articles is obstruction of Congress, but a part of that is she's not getting FEMA money out to disaster areas,
Yeah.
and
Yep,
that's money that's already been
heard about
appropriated.
that.
So that's affected, red and blue and
Right,
purple. So I
right.
think that's where some of the grumblings I'm hearing from the other side of the aisle are coming from that too, because she hasn't done, as you put it, the administrative part of getting money out where it belongs.
Well,
Yeah.
she's too busy trying to figure out new costumes and new hats for her
Oh
public
my
appearances, Robin.
Oh my God. Yes.
You know,
Someone said that she transformed herself into the mega style. A show I was on, someone made that comment that
Yeah.
she's trying to get whatever that look is. She's incompetent. She should have never been in this position. And I served with her in
Right.
the legislature, and she's so over her head. But so is Kennedy, so is
They
Patel,
all are. Yeah.
oh,
on and on and on and on.
all of them,
Yeah.
all of them
But people are losing
basically.
their lives under her.
Yep, and
And
as
that's
Under
really
for
Kennedy
the
too, actually, with his vaccines.
that's the critical differences. And I think that your leadership highlighted something very clearly. Look, we unfortunately in this administration, the Democrats being in the minority actually have to focus on everything. We do. We have to address everything. There's no longer, oh, that's a distraction, because that's a silly comment now. These are all things that are corrupt, incompetent, brutal, cruel, and inhumane, and we have to address everything. So, to that end, when you take leadership like this on a very tough thing, because folks, I want to tell you, having been in Congress, and I'll say it for the Congresswoman, is that um, no one brings up impeachment like it's a vanilla Sunday on a Tuesday morning, right? Like you just say that it is a big, big deal, no matter if it is the president, a member of the cabinet, or potentially someday, I say whimsically, SCOTUS. So, we'll see how that goes. But turning your attention actually to some of the things on the ground right now, Robin. So, in Minnesota, I know several members have gone to Minneapolis, which is great to continue to highlight it. Is there another action Congress can take to, I know I've seen a couple of bills out there indicating that they would prevent him from going into cities, but he's already doing that. Is there any other, now there's other, Keith Ellison is suing and all the things, the AG from Minnesota. What are the things Congress can do to prevent him from invading other cities? Or is there any appetite for Republicans to get him out of Minneapolis?
Unfortunately, they're not speaking up, not in the House I serve in. It seems like I've heard very, very little. More of the speaking up has been from the Senate Republicans
Yeah,
and Lisa Murkowski, Tom Tillis, but he's leaving. But that's okay. That
we'll take
at
it.
least
Yeah.
at least people are speaking up. But it seems like more and more are speaking up. So that's good. But even like there's legislation around all kind of things. No masks, no, you got to wear body cameras, just even things like that. And those are some of the things we are asking for, in the next bill that comes up. You can't just pick up people, no invasions and that kind of thing. It's interesting because they're kind of talking out of two sides of their mouth. Like they said they would draw down
Yeah.
in Minneapolis, but then the new guy that took
Okay.
Bavino's place said, "We're going to stay here till the job is done." What is the job? That's the thing. What is the
I don't
job?
think they know.
They
Yeah.
said they were doing it for one thing, but they're doing everything else, beside that. And very few, like I can think of in Chicago, 614 people I think were detained, and so few. I think one, they found something. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And again, it's not just undocumented. And, the other, I just have to say this when you talked about distraction. I heard that initially too, but the thing is, when you think about affordability, if people aren't going to work, that's their bottom line. They can't pay bills. stores aren't being shopped at, restaurants aren't being eaten at, restaurants don't have employees. That is affordability. That's affecting everyone's bottom line. And, we're talking about health a lot. We've heard story after story. People are scared to go to the doctor. They're scared to get their health care. And these are undocumented new immigrants or people born in the United States. We're hearing it from everybody. So it's not a distraction. I know I heard that, but I just had to comment that it permeates through our everyday life.
It does. And it goes right to our economy and our culture and all things, and actually our trustworthiness in the world, because everybody is watching. And this is what Trump and his goons forget, is that everybody is watching us. There is a reason Mark Carney chose to cut a deal with China. There is a reason why all of these the EU overall is cutting deals with other oil producing nations. I mean, and soybean producing nations.
Oh yeah, I have 4,500 farms in my current district,
Right.
and soybeans number one for us, China, our number one customer. They told me under Trump 1.0, they already started investing in Brazil, and some of them don't feel like it's going to come back. And most of my farmers don't look like me or vote like me, but
Yeah.
we have a really
Well, they
good.
might start. I
No,
mean,
no, no, I know,
encourage-
no, no.
yeah,
I have
I
a
was
great
with a group of,
relationship with
yeah, I
my
was.
farmers. They know I really care.
Well, some of them were from your district that I met with recently, and I have to tell you, they are considering you. So just be clear. I want to tell everybody that these are people that haven't voted for a Democrat ever in their lives, or haven't voted for a Democrat in 25 years. So
Hmm.
the farmers are starting to listen. But so I want to turn our attention to the Senate race, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Can you give us a lay of the land, Robin? I know that I've seen your TV spot, and I know the other two opponents are up on TV. Tell us a little bit about the kind of the contours of the race.
Sure. Well, I have 3 or 4 more TV spots coming. That was just the first one that I rolled out. I'm working hard. I don't have to tell you, I'm running against money and how do I put it? A large shadow. That's the only way I could put it. But I've always been the people's candidate. Getting in front of as many people as possible. Like yesterday at a forum outside of Chicago, I was the only of the top 3, as they say, the only candidate there, and I try to get in front of as many people as possible. The big contrast is I have the experience, I do the work, I'm not afraid to stand up, show up, or speak up. And in fact, that's why some people are not with me, because I'm not afraid to stand up, show up, and speak up. I am a proud Democrat, but I have my own mind, and I do what I think is right. When I first started running, I told the people that came and got me, I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day. And I'm proud that I could still look at myself in the mirror and be proud, of what I've done. So I think that is, and I'm not the best. I'm not gonna say I'm the best debater or anything like that, but I speak from the heart. I speak, from what I know people want. It's not scripted or, I'm not yelling at people. I just want people to feel like I'm having a conversation with them and to earn their trust and to know, check the record, as my colleagues always tease me when I say that, but I've done the work. I've done the work. And I know how to work. I've been in Congress 13 years, only in majority 4, but I still have gotten meaningful legislation done around healthcare, gun violence prevention, consumer protection, even AI. Me and a Republican colleague were the first people to have hearings on AI and cybersecurity. I mean, it was way back, now, but, we brought the issue like I brought maternal mortality or morbidity, so I have done the work. And I laugh because people say, why don't you bring up this? Because I forgot I did that. I just do the work and move on. To the next thing. I think that is, really, really important. And truly, I feel like I was put on this earth to be a public servant, and I care about everybody. I want everybody, to be able to live their best life, whether that's in the United States, whether that's in Gaza, whether that's, in Ecuador, Venezuela, because I just feel like we all do better when we all do better wherever we live.
So, Robin, one of
Robin,
the questions that was coming in was, are you accepting any kind of contributions from AIPAC and other
No.
PACs?
And just not to get in the rabbit hole about it,
Yeah.
I didn't realize myself that people I've known like for 30 years put their money through the portal. I never knew about that. And so that's why, people say, oh, she takes AIPAC money, but I was taking money from people that have known me a long time before I was ever, elected. And I didn't realize there was even a portal. Someone had pointed that out to me. And actually, one of the people said, oh, I have to give to you directly. I didn't know what she was talking about. So, no, I'm not. I had announced that I was not, and that I'm not. So yeah,
Okay,
but
and
Robin,
that's why it might look like it, is what I'm trying to say.
Robin, I'm getting a question coming in here. I think this is a really good one because while you gave us an overview of compare and contrast, this texter, actually, not a caller, a texter, said, can you ask the Congresswoman how policy-wise she is different from Raja and Juliana? Is there a specific policy set that you're
Well, it
different?
depends who we're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
I'm for Medicare for all.
yeah,
Raja is not.
yeah.
Juliana said she is, but I've been on the Medicare for all caucus, I think pretty much since it started, if I can, as I say, remember, and have voted. Um, I believe in universal healthcare in the richest country in the history of the world. So I would say that. Also, I know it's a nice saying, but I don't say abolish ICE. I say dismantle because I feel like it needs to be a part of a whole immigration system. It is bigger than ICE. It is ICE. It is Border Patrol. It is USCIS that deals with citizenship and asylums. That we need to look at that whole agency and dismantle it and rebuild it where it makes sense. It's too big, it's too unwieldy, and it hasn't been accountable. And so I think we need to, you know, make the dreamers American. They're American anyway. The over 11 million people that contribute every day to our society. We need to find a pathway and not a long pathway. We need to find a short pathway to citizenship. So, when she says abolish, that's all she says. I have a plan, and I it's bigger than, yes, it's ICE, but it's bigger than ICE because Border Patrol is out there also. We need to look at who we're hiring, how we're training people. I believe that these people are some of the insurrectionists. When I was on my hands and knees January 6th, not knowing the last 20 out, and I believe the way they did the commercials, we'll pay your debt or give you whatever
yeah,
signing
$50,000
bonus and all
bonus.
that. She spent $200 million of taxpayer money on those commercials. And so I think we have to look at the whole thing, not that it's not important. I don't want anybody else to lose their life and be drug out of their home, but I think it's a part of a big package.
So I just want to clarify for our listeners, because this is really confusing. You've probably had
Yeah,
to explain this to your constituents. I know I have. So the Department of Homeland Security is an all-encompassing federal agency that includes ICE
right.
and all of the
FEMA,
Border Patrol,
TSA.
FEMA, TSA, and 7 other
Yeah,
sub-agencies. So
yeah.
it was created right after 9/11, folks, and it became very unwieldy. It's been flailing literally for 15 or 20 years.
Hmm.
So what Robin was trying to differentiate is she's saying, no, let's dismantle all of that, redo it in a way where it's modern and we'll move forward
And
with
put it
what
in the right categories, actually,
correct.
that it
Yeah.
belongs
Yeah.
in. Because, if ICE is law enforcement, does it belong there or does it belong in DOJ? Not DOJ yet, because that's messed up too.
Yeah,
Everything's
not
messed
the
up.
current DOJ. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I
Um,
mean, I think that we have to not make snap, but look at it, what do we need to do that really makes sense? And of course, not, uh, you know, whatever we need to put in place so we're not weaponizing these agencies against our own people. Whatever your status is in the United States, you're still our people, and so like I think that even Republicans, some could not imagine how far this man was going to go. And in my mind, I talk about also loopholes need to be closed. So presidents, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, you cannot do them. I mean, yeah. Then this is still a democracy. It's supposed to be run by the people. and so I just think when we get the gavels back, as we say, we have to do things, we have to do it quick. We can't go back to the status quo because that was not good enough either in many circumstances, whether you want to talk about healthcare, housing, homeland security, the minimum wage is 7.25 on the federal level. That's disgusting. Like I said, immigration, a lot of things we need to do, but we need to do them as quick as possible because again, I've been in Congress almost 13 years, only in the majority 4. So we have to hit the ground running and not stop until we do the things we need to do. Now, I got to get off now, but it's good to
Well,
see all of you.
yeah, good
So,
to
Robin,
see you, Congresswoman. Stay
Wasim,
safe. Stay
sorry,
safe
Marie.
on the trail, and we'll
Thank
have you
you.
back on again. But be well.
Sure, just you know how to get me. See
So
you guys. Take care.
Wasim Iftikhar from Niama had called and we could not get him on. So he did call in to wish you well, and Niama has endorsed you. And
Thank
Wasim
you.
wanted to personally say that on the air this morning.
Thank you so much. I so
And
appreciate
so
it. I
has
won't
Impact.
disappoint you, I promise.
Impact has also endorsed you a couple of days back.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you guys, we need you. You know that too, right? We need you to bring up the issues. It's so important that we're depending. It's going to take a village to make these changes. So we need people in the media too who aren't afraid to speak the truth.
Thank you.
Everybody's not like that.
Okay.
See you later.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, so you're tuned in to the Lightning Strike on WCPT 820 AM. That was Congresswoman Marie Newman talking with Congresswoman, soon-to-be Senator Robin Kelly. And we got Maria Muzaffar back from her world travels with Breaking the Echo Chamber. Good morning, Maria. Welcome back.
Good morning.